Welcome to AZ Solutions. In this PowerPoint session, I will show you how to work with the layouts. The layouts are made up of placeholders. So each of these frames here is a placeholder, and from this area on the top on the left, you have a button that says New Slides. Now the button is broken up into two parts, the top half and the lower half. So when you click on the lower half, it shows you an array of layouts that you may want to work with. Now, the layouts that you are presented with will depend on the design theme that you choose. So if I come into the design and choose a different design style, when I come back to the Home tab and New Slides, you'll see that the layout choices are different. Sometimes they don't even have as many as others. So I'll come back to Design, and you can create your own designs as well. Now, it is best to use the layout designs that come with PowerPoint rather than you creating your own ones in this area here and starting from scratch and creating your placeholder. I'll explain why. If you start with a blank slide and then go to, for example, Insert, and then select your own text box and then position it where you like, you may want to create another layout similar, but the placeholders won't line up. You'll think you have it in place, but the next one might be a touch further up or a touch further down, and therefore when you're transferring from one slide to the next, it will be out of sync a little bit. So if you don't like any of the layouts that are presented with you here, you can create your own, and we'll take a look at that a little bit later. So first of all, the layouts that we are given here, let's start with the title one. And what we're going to do is simply type in this area here. Okay, when I want another slide, you can click away from the selected slide. You'll see the long bar there, and now go back to New and choose a different layout. Now this layout that I choose here is Title and Content. So I can come in here and type in the title. Now this particular layout that I've chosen, which is Title and Content, has several components that you can work with. You can start by typing in bulleted information. Notice when I do that, the center part has gone away. Now I'll just remove that for a minute. The center items here allow you to use this space to create either a table or a chart, or insert smart art graphics or 3D models, or insert pictures from online or from your own computer, or videos or icons. I'm going to talk about the placeholders to start with, because what often happens is we can be working in a placeholder, typing away, that's all good and well, but then somewhere along the line someone comes in and accidentally moves the layout, the placeholder, out of whack. Now when this happens, you attempted to wanting to put this back. So if I click and try and put it back, you think you might be putting in the right spot. Yes, you do have these guides, so you may put it in there, but not necessarily at the right height. So instead of having to try and move it back, of course, if you had done it 30 seconds ago, you can use Control-Z to undo. But if it was something that was done quite a few steps back, it's not something you're going to be able to undo using the Control-Z method. So the preferred method is to put it back to that same layout. To do that, from the slides group here, you have layouts. Now, when you hit the drop down arrow here under layouts, you're able to see all of the layouts again. You need to understand that this is not a new layout that you're creating. This is a layout structure that you currently have, such as this one here, which is highlighted for you. And if I click on it, it will position the placeholder back into its place. Now, another thing you might do is, sure, I've picked it up, I've moved it out of whack, but what I've also done is played around with the formatting, made it bold, changed the color, changed the size. And what you want to do is put the placeholder back in its place. Now, if I use the layout option, it puts the layout back in its place, and it puts the layout back in its place, and it keeps the formatting that I had. What about if I need to reset it completely? I need the layout to go back into its place, but I also want to get rid of the formatting and make it comply with the design template. So let's give this a go. So pick this up, move it out of the way. Instead of choosing the layout option, I'll choose the reset. So the reset is going to do two. Puts the placeholder back where it belongs, but it also complies with the formatting. So that's the difference between layout and reset. Okay, let's try another slide. So new slide, and I'm going to go for to content. So I've now made it to contents. I'll type something in here. So I have two placeholders. Now sometimes what happens is we change our mind as to what is it that I want. You may have one layout and then you decide, no, I want to change it to something else. From one thing to another. Okay, so I have two content layout and I decide that's not what I want. I actually want it to be a title and content. You use the layout option again, so it's not only to put placeholders back where they belong, but to change one layout to another. Now this isn't a perfect blend, so I'm going to change it to title and content, and you may need to do some playing around. You can see that this placeholder has now stretched all the way across. Now if I click on this one here, you still have this placeholder. I can select the text, cut it from here, position it where you want it over here, that's all well and good, but you're still left with the frame, which can mean that sometimes when people are coming here playing, they can be distracted or not understand what's going on over here. So once you do change a layout from one to another, you want to click on this placeholder and make sure you delete it. So I simply press the delete key to get rid of it. So you can change the layout from one to another. I can even change it back if I need to. The placeholder has moved itself and now I can continue to type here. Okay, so from here you can choose any layout. You can even duplicate layouts. The way I would duplicate a layout is to select it and say Control D. That would be the easiest way. You can always right click and duplicate as well as deleting. Either select and hit delete or right click and then delete your slide. If I have used, for example, this layout here, which is the two columns, and I would like to create another slide exactly the same, instead of going to the drop down arrow and looking for which one did I choose before, which one is it, you can then, because you want to use the same one as the one before, you can press the button from the top half and the slide that it will follow is the one previously. You can also use Control M, that will insert the slide from the previous layout design. Okay, So if I'm in this one here, and I'm going to go directly underneath it, you can see the line here. When I hit the top half of the button, or Control M, as I'll do this instance, Control M, the slide layout design that I get is the title and content. To find out what layout is it that I'm actually in at the moment, I'm not sure which one it was. Sometimes they can look very similar. Make sure you're on the slide, and when you go to the layout option, that is where you will see the highlighted area and know that that is the style, the one that you've used, not, let's say, the comparison one, which can be very similar, except it has an extra little line at the top here. I hope you enjoyed that video by AZ Solutions. Subscribe for further learning or join one of our virtual training sessions.